welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, the Camaro is back and it's absolutely hauling ass. I had it over at Tune Time Performance in Lakewood, New Jersey. They do all my tuning. That's where the car was tuned last time. I got dyno sheets I want to show you, but before we do that, there's a few things I just want to go over. So if you see my last video, right where I left off, I just finished installing the wideband and I was about to clean the car up and drop it off to the tuner. I was explaining that I was going to start using HP tuners before I drove it over there. I figured it was just going to be better going ahead and buying HP tuners opposed to actually paying for a truck and trailer. It was only a couple $100 more and I'll be able to make use of it in the future. But what I ended up doing was I pulled the truck injectors out, I put the 80s back in, and then I flashed the computer with the injector data for the DECA 80s. I got that off LS1 Tech. I also converted to the 3-bar map. All I did was an operating system upgrade, and I got the 3-bar to work. Then pretty much I copy and pasted my old tune over to the new OS, and from there I just kind of data logged a low RPM VE table and got the fuel trims dialed in pretty good, at least good enough to drive it over there and not have to worry about blowing the thing up. And once that was all said and done, I drove it to the tuner. They went ahead, they did a full check on the car, everything was good, put it on the dyno, and it turned out the car was losing fuel pressure. There were a few things it could have been. For one thing, if you know, when I did my fuel pump with the door in the back here, which now I'm actually really glad I put that door in there. When I put my new return in, I used the old vent line, and by doing that, I didn't actually have a hose coming from the top of the tank down under by the pump. I just kind of left it like dumping into the tank. So they went in there, they fixed that. So the gas isn't just going to be pouring back into the tank and aerating the fuel by the pump. Put it back on the dyno. That still didn't fix the problem. Other thing, I was thinking maybe my regulator was defective. I knew it wasn't a wiring problem just because I used like that really heavy 12-gauge wire and it has its own dedicated fuse. So I knew the wiring for the pump shouldn't have really been a problem. So what they ended up doing was just pulling out the Walbro 400 and they put a new one in, and that fixed the problem. So I pretty much just had a defective fuel pump. They took care of all that for me, put it on the dyno, made some great numbers, and I just picked it up a couple of days ago. As far as everything else goes, everything seemed to do its job perfectly. I mean, the cooling system for the blower was great. I had my pusher fans all hooked up and working. Met system performed without a problem. I am glad I went with the L6 Concepts race drive kit because I didn't have any problems at all with belt slip. So pretty much everything went relatively smoothly aside for the fuel pump problem. The only thing that did happen was my wideband got a little messed up. Pretty much when they're tuning it, they removed the wideband and hooked theirs up so they can actually tune the car. And they had it tied up and it came loose and it pretty much got dragged when they were road testing it on the street. But they told me what was going on and they are getting me a new sensor. But all in all, that was really the only hiccup with the whole thing. I mean, aside from the fuel pump being defective. But that wasn't something that I was going to be able to catch anyway because the car was running fine at idle and under low RPM. There's really no way of me knowing the thing wasn't going to be putting out enough pressure under a high RPM. All right, but now that you guys are up to speed, on to the main event, which is the dyno results. Right here, I had the NA sheet from a few months ago that I went over before I started doing all this, and then I have the new boosted sheet that I just got when I picked the car up. All right, so on my left here, I have the old sheet, and on my right is the new sheet with the supercharger. Now, all this was done on a Mustang dyno. Before we made 341 horsepower and 311 foot-pounds of torque. Now, fully tuned, running just a little bit of meth, same Mustang numbers, we're looking at 510 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels and 529 horsepower. So that's almost a 200 horsepower gain at the wheels. I believe it's about 180 something. And as far as torque goes, that is almost right on the nose, 200 foot-pounds over the NA build. This green line over here is the projected DynoJet rear wheel horsepower number. Any of you guys that are interested in dyno numbers, if it was a DynoJet, this number is 624 horsepower. They don't give you a torque number, but it would probably be around 600. For any of you guys who are actually familiar with tuning and, you know, dynos and stuff, everybody knows that a Mustang dyno reads substantially lower than a DynoJet most times. This shop in particular that I brought the car to, their Mustang dyno actually reads a good amount lower than most DynoJets. I spoke to the owner, and specifically he told me that having a car at his shop, and then if it went on a DynoJet, the number is usually a 17% difference over a DynoJet. Take that with a grain of salt. The only way to really know how much power it's making is to go to the track and get a mile per hour. I'm really just looking at the gains over where it was before and what it is now. Last time I had it at the track, before the blower, the max speed I hit in the quarter was 109 miles per hour. With a quarter mile time of 13.4 seconds with an atrocious 60 foot of around 2.3 seconds. So I never actually had slicks on this car. I get a really good quarter mile time before the blower went on. But I do plan on upgrading the rear in the future. I'm either gonna go to a Hawks 8.8 or a Strange S60. I might go with the 8.8 just because it's a little bit lighter. But right now I'm just driving it on the street. I hope to start autocross soon with it. It's probably not gonna be until next year, being the season is just about over. But yeah, I am gonna see if I could get one run at the track in before they close, just to see you know, what it's going to do mile per hour wise. As for upcoming videos, I do have some stuff planned. I want to clean up some things under the hood as well as the interior before I start doing more performance stuff. I mean, the biggest thing I really need is a parking brake right now, because I still have the 97 parking brake setup and rear brake setup going on, and it's absolutely terrible. I adjusted the parking brake like 5 times. The cables were almost maxed out and the brake still doesn't hold. I think I'm just gonna go and do an LS1 brake conversion in the back. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me regarding the parking brake, the cables I use and how I actually got it to work. So doing a rear parking brake conversion to the LS1 style, not only it's gonna be a great gain for me as far as the car not actually rolling away when I go to park it, but you guys will get some information on how that is actually done and what parts to use. But that's enough of me talking. I'm tired of it. I'm sure you're tired of listening to me. It's time for some pulls. As you can see, the car sounds absolutely amazing. Honestly, the only part of this build that I'm kind of disappointed in is the blower whine. As you heard in the GoPro footage, outside the car, it sounds absolutely amazing. Inside the car, you really can't hear any blower whine at all. The SLP is just so loud, all you hear is exhaust. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I kind of wish there was a little more blower noise inside the car. Maybe one day I'll change the exhaust, put in a cutout, put a little quieter of a muffler, but the SLP just sounds so great right now. I'm probably not gonna be doing that anytime soon. As far as shooting upcoming videos, I'm gonna try to get more driving clips in there, kind of like I used to in my older videos, just because, well, now the car is up and running. It's not just sitting in the driveway. I can actually film some, but I know a lot of you guys are interested in that, and I know a lot of the channels that I actually watch, I'm always like, when are you gonna drive it? When are you gonna drive it? And it's kind of disappointing when they don't drive it or they don't even start the car up for the whole video. So I am gonna try to work on that. Link to my Instagram is gonna be down below, as well as nothing else, because I didn't really use any parts in this video. I'll post a couple of pictures of the dyno sheets towards the end of this video, just so you can see them up close if you want to pause and take a closer look at them. But as always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.